Hello, I'm Mr. E, and I love roguelikes. The challenge, the progression, the failures and successes, and of course, the randomness. Nothing beats a good roguelike. But finding the good ones is a challenge in itself, and that's where I come in. Welcome, traveler, to the Rogues Gallery. Today in the gallery, I'd like to take a look at Spell Brigade, which is a game in the Vampire Survivors roguelike subgenre. As with all games in this subgenre, they have to have a gimmick in order to set themselves apart from the competition, and for Spell Brigade, that gimmick is that you can play cooperatively with up to 4 players. The catch is that there's friendly fire between players, although there is a setting so you can turn this off. Just like Vampire Survivors, there is a host of 12 characters to choose from, each with their own starting power. These powers can be found on other classes as well as you level up in game, so the choice of character mostly comes down to their passive abilities. I found the most success with Sun Mage, who has a smaller hitbox and moves faster, and this is probably because the game itself requires lots of positioning and movement, much more than some games in the Survivors subgenre. Whereas in Vampire Survivors, for example, you can get powerful enough to stand still and obliterate all the enemies around you, it seems to be impossible to do the same in Spell Brigade, especially on the highest difficulty. There are also quests that appear at intervals throughout the level, and all of them require nimbly dodging the enemies to complete. Succeeding this quest offers a free, powerful blessing that boosts one of your skills. This is in addition to the stat boost that you get from collecting XP from enemies, and the augment scrolls you'll find in chests that spawn around the map. This means you'll need to keep killing, keep completing quests, and keep moving around the map to scale your power effectively. And speaking of boosting power, the game has the same meta progression system as Vampire Survivors. You earn gold from playing runs and can invest it in permanent upgrades to your characters. New characters are unlocked by playing the game normally and reaching certain milestones. Nothing crazy like specific quests to go on, it's usually just related to the amount of levels you gain or the amount of powers you picked up. The power fantasy, which is usually the focus with these style of games, is definitely there. You have lots of abilities that feel very punchy, and when they start to power up and knock out large swaths of enemies, it can be very satisfying. None of the powers are all that creative, I would say though, mainly tied to their simplistic mechanics and art design. And same goes for the enemies, who are an assortment of mostly insectoid-looking enemies who have decided to kill you for unknown reasons. On the plus side, a good number of these foes do have special abilities that will keep you on your toes, such as the ability to fire ranged projectiles, burrow into the ground and surprise attack you, or explode when you get nearby. And I understand that a lot of this is subject to change since this game is very clearly early access. In my opinion, there's a good foundation here for what could become a decent competitor in this subgenre. Right now, however, there are only 3 maps and 12 playable characters with 1 power each, so 12 total powers to find. Even if those powers do get differentiated a little bit by some of the augments you can pick up in game, as well as elemental effects. And I suppose I should talk about these elemental effects since they are one of the main differentiating things that sets Spell Brigade aside from some of the competition. These unlock every 5 levels you put into each power, and there are combination effects between elements that do some serious work on certain abilities. But there is nothing truly crazy or inspired here in terms of class abilities. Overall, I'd say that Spell Brigade is a pretty decent game that you'll probably get at least 8 to 10 hours of enjoyment out of before it gets a little bit stale. It's certainly more enjoyable if you have a group of friends to play with, since coordinating your powers and your elemental effects together, as well as dodging friendly fire, can be exciting and lend more strategy to an otherwise very simple game. I don't know if I would recommend playing it with the matchmaking system, where it pairs you with randoms on the internet. Out of the 5 games that I played trying this system out, 4 of them resulted in 1 player dying repeatedly and draining all of our team's lives. So it's certainly kind of up in the air whether or not you'll get anyone who's even remotely competent on your team. In any respect, it's certainly a good foundation for a game that I'll be keeping my eye on in the future to see if updates bring any significant changes. It's available on Steam for $9.99, which I think is a very reasonable price. It's gone on sale several times recently, so keep your eye out for that. And if you like this game or you're excited to try it because of my review, let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Mr. E out. Bye.